Soulful means something that's heartfelt, deep and profound. To journey means to travel from one place to another. This show is about deep and heartfelt discussions about where we are, where we're headed, and where we've been. It's a place where we highlight memorable moments we've had. This show is about everything and everyone that is good for the soul. Welcome to another edition of Soulful Journey. I am your host, Venus Jones. And if we can, like we do every week, take time for the spirit, because let's remember that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So if you will, allow me to take a deep breath with you. If we just take 1 minute to relax with your breath. Feel yourself breathing in and feel yourself breathing out without trying to control your pattern of breathing. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. And notice how every breath is different from the next. It's the same with life. Ever changing, ever evolving. Whatever is going through your mind right now, you can let it slip away. And just for this moment, we can come back to harmony. You are safe. You are accepted. You are forgiven. And you are loved. Thank you so much for taking that deep breath with me. And every day, you can take time every day to take care of your spirit. That's what this show is a reminder of. And a reminder that there are beautiful people in the world who are doing great things. And today we have a guest. Her name is Onawa Miller. And she is a certified trauma recovery coach and a health coach. She has a dual certification, and she is a friend of mine. We met in the world of art and poetry. She has healing expression of her own through the arts. She uses dance and poetry as well. And she is a teaching artist when she chooses. She's committed to helping others with their healing. And I'm so happy to have her on the show. But as you know, those who watch frequently, I always like to begin every show with at least one poem or some statement that reminds me of the person that we're interviewing today. And this is a really quick, short but sweet poem that she reminded me that is on my first album, which was called Venus to Earth. It was released in 2003, and it's the same year that I met this young lady, and it is called Flame. I am in universal harmony. Dark beauty, dark light, dark cradle. I am able to hear the first human cries. I attract light from distant light years. I am the creator of the infinite sprite. I nurture the right. I was made as black as the earth. This is my place of birth. Do not be fooled by the name. I do not search for fame. Often I have no desire to entertain. I am transmitting insight to ignite your flame. Can I get a maraca shake? And without any further ado, I want to introduce you to Onawa Miller. Welcome,
Hello.
Onawa.
Hi. I'm actually teary-eyed over here over that one. Yes.
Thank you for reminding me of that poem. And yeah, that was the first poem that you hear on my debut CD. And I remember somebody telling me once when they put it in their CD or in their CD player back in the day.
Right.
she was like, she played it, and she like afterwards she was like, "Whoa!"
Right.
I had to
Right.
pause. I don't know who that was that told me that once, but yeah. So thank you
Yeah.
for reminding me of that piece that came to me and through me for people like you, and because you are a light in this world. So I guess you just hear yourself in that piece,
I
right?
do. I do. I'm like, wow. I'm like,
That's me.
yeah, feeling it right now.
Yes, you
Okay.
are.
Yeah.
You are. Thank you for being who you are.
Mhm.
So I want to give the floor to you. The virtual stage is yours. And during this segment, you will share a poem of your own. You will share whatever you would like to share because you all should know that Onawa Miller is also with, you can find her at abound.life,
I
but
like
more about that later. So I'm going to
it.
step back for a few and let you share whatever you choose.
Okay. I am. Oh, yeah, that one really got me. So, this one is As My Soul Dances. As my soul dances, reflections of movement in the looking glass bounce back only images the natural eye can see. Shadows on the wall, shadows on the floor move in synchronized rhythms with me. As my soul dances, there appears evidence of power only the spiritual eye can view. The process by which I become new. Shackles of pain, fear, heartache, and shame loosen the hold around my feet. This is where my mind, my body, my spirit, and soul shall meet. A place where every burden and worry cease. A moment that feels as if time begins to increase. An experience that feels as if the heavenly realms I have reached. As my soul dances, the exchange of power from the great source begins to take course. Energy flows just like lightning from the ground up with my feet, my hands, my thighs, my back, my arms, my hands, my face, my eyes, all lift praises to the sky. The shadows on the wall, the shadows on the floor become the angels dancing with me as heaven calls for an encore. The shadows on the wall, the shadows on the floor become the angels dancing with me as heaven calls for an encore. As my soul dances, the exchange of power from the great source begins to take course. Energy flows just like lightning from the ground up with my feet, my legs, my thighs, my back, my arms, my hands, my face, my eyes, all lift praises to the sky. So, an invitation to you I extend. It is time for your dance to begin. Break beyond boundaries and barriers. Allow the tears to fall with every syncopated rhythm, releasing every insecurity and every ism. Dance beyond your hiding place into a moment not captured by time nor space. Discover and cultivate your place in God. It is here your rhythm will never be neither too late nor too early as your soul dances.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, you got me teary eyed over here.
Oh,
Gosh, thank you so much
you're welcome.
for that. And wow, tell me how that poem came into being. Why did you write that poem?
Well, it was a Venus inspired poem. This is when um, we were on the poetry circuit, and I was dancing with you and Tony Muhammad. Shout out to Tony. And Terry Clark, who was a part of our quad
Yeah.
squad. And um, I was at home one day and I was cleaning and writing and cleaning and writing, cleaning and writing this song. My Faith Looks Up to Thee by Kirk Whalum was playing. And
Mm.
I just stopped and the words came to me. And I began to pen my story. This was my testimony. This was my story. I'm a childhood sexual abuse survivor,
Okay.
and all of that was locked up in me.
Mm.
And that shackles of pain, fear, heartache, and shame. When I dance, it literally loosens the hold around my feet. And this is where my mind, my body, my spirit, and soul shall meet. So there's a term called disassociation when we step out of our body, when we disconnect from our body. But when I dance, when my soul dances, all the
Mhm.
parts of me converge and meet and
Okay.
connect and release that shame, that fear, that heartache. And so when my soul dances, when I dance, when I write, when I teach, when I'm helping others to their healing journey, this is what happens with me. And
Mm.
so I wrote this piece
Just like lightning.
just like lightning, just like lightning. And so I wrote this piece in 2003, but I'm living it now. I'm living that freedom now. It took me that long to really understand the words that I wrote and understanding how my trauma affected my life, how my thought process, my self image was molded by that, and how that shame showed up in my body. I'm also a lupus survivor.
Mm.
And even, for miscarriages, and how all of that showed up every time. All of that locked away shame that was imprinted in my body. When I allow my soul to dance is when I break free from all of that shackle and all of that heaviness. So that's how it was almost a letter to myself,
Mm.
back then. So when I came into the knowledge and the understanding of what recovery meant, what trauma really does to the body and the mind and the soul, I went back to this poem and I didn't realize I was pinning my testimony. I didn't realize I was pinning my life story.
Yeah, and I resonate with that because, I too am a survivor and I don't know what it is about dance, but it's so freeing. And I feel like if I had another life, I would be a dancer too.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of dance that is like you said, it just comes from a place of healing. And I've seen you do that. And when I first met you, that's what you were doing. And it was a gift to me. That, again, shout out to Tony. But I
Right.
didn't know how long we would be friends and
Right.
how important. Like you said, I still feel like I'm coming into my own too through this work that we were called to do. And I just want to ask you some more questions if you
Okay.
don't mind.
I do want to add just a little bit
Yeah.
why that was so important. So when I was young, I would steal away in the midnight hours in our kitchen when everybody was asleep and move the kitchen table over. And we had a sliding patio door, and the
Okay.
shadows on the wall and the shadows on the floor became my teachers,
Interesting. So
became my,
that line comes from.
yes. And it continued to grow and manifest, not only like instructional teacher, because I never had formal dance training, but it became my spiritual teacher too, my spiritual reflection.
Mm.
They became the angels dancing with me.
And being someone who studies poetry, there's even that metaphor of
Mm-hmm.
how you can use the shadow,
Mm-hmm.
because
To
some of us
learn.
from the shadow,
Mm-hmm.
but you use the shadow as a lesson, uh,
As an instructor.
as an instructor, as a teacher.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you for pausing me on that, because
Yes.
that's important stuff, because so many people want to run from that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I tend to be very happy, happy, joy, joy, but because I too I'm a survivor, sometimes I struggle with thoughts, automatic negative thoughts. but it's so important to know what helps you and what is
Right,
your teacher. So I give thanks for that, and you reminding people that you can feel what you're feeling, but this is how you can use art to let it go.
right, right.
Mhm. So deep, so deep.
Thank you for letting me share that.
Yes, thank you
Yeah,
for being here.
yeah.
This is I'm just in awe. I'm in awe. I want to ask you. You know, I, I know those who saw the poster or the flyer for the show. They said that they saw that our topic was recovery, and that can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. But I was hoping that you could unpack that for people, because when I introduce you as a trauma recovery coach, I don't even know if people know what that looks like. And I want to kind of get just a definition of what trauma is and what recovery is. Can
Right,
you share that for those who are still trying to understand if what you give is something that they need?
right. So trauma can be interpersonal, it could be environmental, it could be medical, it could be so many ways that it comes. And one episode, one incident can affect two people in the same household totally different ways,
Different ways, right?
totally different ways.
I
And
feel that.
so it is a personal response
Mm,
to a incident that elicits a response from our nervous system, whether it's flight or fight, whether it's freeze, whether it's fawn, and I'm coming up with another one, fire. And that impacts us because it's happening to our body. The response is actually happening in our nervous system and our brain's response, the reptile part of the brain that looks for survival and safety. And we
mm,
respond with that. Am I safe? So it is a indictment on our safety.
mm,
So trauma is an indictment on our safety. And that's how we respond to it physically. And that fight or flight, that freeze or fawn, and my Onawa Miller's adding on to that philosophy of fire. And what do we do with this? What skills do we have? And that threat level of our to our survival determines how we respond to it.
mm, mm. And that is trauma. That is what trauma is. And do you think that some people may not even know that they're experiencing trauma?
Absolutely. There were so many things that I learned through my certification process about trauma. And I learned so many things about myself. And not only what trauma was, the traumatic experiences, but the side effects and the consequences of trauma. And whether it was procrastination, perfectionism, isolation, all of these things. And then lupus, one of the main things that caught my attention about trauma recovery was my work in childhood obesity prevention and adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACEs. A Kaiser Permanente and Centers of Disease Control study showed that 75% of chronic disease is related to adverse childhood experience, i.e., trauma. And so when I heard even,
Let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You're saying that there's a connection with childhood obesity to trauma?
yes,
Okay.
and then chronic disease throughout the adult lifespan as well.
Yeah, I see. I
And
see.
so that's where my health coaching and the trauma recovery are now married and running in parallel together and in sync together. And so that's where how this duo combination came to be,
Okay.
and along with mental health awareness and advocacy, because we dissect the human experience in all of these different categories and not looking at the whole pie. And so we have to look, my perspective is that looking at the whole pie of the human experience, you get the whole picture and you can address the
We,
whole picture and the whole person.
but you said as a lupus survivor, a lot of people may not even know that has an impact on the body and how that. I guess is it true that some lupus people who are surviving lupus they can't move their body that much? Is that true?
That's true. Earlier, so the symptoms for me started when I was 12.
Mm,
And so I'm now 44. So I've been living with these conditions for 32 years.
mm,
And I college should have been the strongest point in my life. Oftentimes had to walk with a cane.
mm,
Seventh grade, I had these wrist splints. I had Raynaud's syndrome and so many things. There were good days and there were bad days.
yeah.
Some days I could dance all day. Other days you wouldn't see me
Yeah.
because I was at home and couldn't move.
Okay.
When one
And
left,
that's why it was so powerful when I first saw you dancing because, here it is. It's like my CD release party, and I'm seeing you up there moving, and I'm in tears. And I'm like, didn't even totally even know the story, but when I knew the story, it was just something I could not forget. And there's a video for that poem as my son dance. I
oh
want
yeah,
y'all to look for it. I don't know exactly where it is, but I know I saw it. It is beautiful. And hopefully if you follow Onawa, she can share that with you, or you can find it maybe on her website
it is
somewhere.
on my homepage at abound.life.
So I love that.
Yeah.
And abound, where that title even, abound.
Abound means to
What does that
show
mean?
up, to be copiously supplied, to have more than enough. And so I was I have rebranded a couple of times my business name, and it was Virtuous Health Today, and it just wasn't sticking.
Mhm.
And I did Abound Women's Health and Wholeness series and women's brunches, and Abound was just sticking. It was an action word. It was a descriptive word. It was a power word. And then I go back to my track days before I was really sidelined, and we used to do these bounding exercises. I don't know, the bounding drills where it was a big power move where you would try to get as far as you could in one step. And
Mm,
you would have to just pull out all the strength from your body
yeah.
and get as far as you could in one step. And so when I think about a bound, I think about getting as far as we can and having more than enough in one step and showing up to life with that power. And so that's why it is abound.life. You asked me, you were like, not .com. It wasn't
I'm like,
available.
yeah. I'm like, what is there a .com after that? When I first heard her say about
Yeah,
that, I'm like, okay, and she's
yeah,
like, oh, that's it, about that
yeah,
life.
abound.life. That's what it's about.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So we ran out of the .coms, I guess, but we will not run out of life.
no,
Hello.
we won't.
Energy is life. Energy
It
never dies.
is.
So
Yeah.
listen, let me tell you. I normally have a segment where I have someone talk about a little bit of maybe a show and tell item, and I just didn't know if you want to share a little bit about that necklace you have
I
on.
will. I will. I
Because
will.
that is a showing. You all in showcase here. What is
Yes.
this? Is a powerful piece.
And
Was that gifted to you or?
and I was trying to think about it. I don't know where I got this piece.
Okay.
There was another piece that my mother had gifted me, but this one I think I personally purchased because it just resonated with me. It is turquoise and coral, which, as I am part Native American of the Quechan Indian tribe of Fort Yuma, Winter Haven, California, and so these particular stones are often used in jewelry made by First Nations.
Okay.
And but the
Tor-
turquoise in particular was my first connection to a stone. And it's the color, the energy, the healing that it represents, and then the coral as well. I used to shy away from red, and this is not quite red, and I used to shy away from red because it was too much for me. And I rarely wear red. The energy was just too much. But a blend of them both. balance for me. And then in my quiet meditation time, I asked what my purpose was in the body of people, in the body of the world. And what I heard was blood and water.
Mm.
And I was like, what's that mean? And so when I got further clarification about it, it's to flow like blood and water
Mm.
to wherever the body needs nourishing and healing.
Okay.
So these two colors
Represent.
represent my
Represent.
purpose. Yeah.
Blood and water. Love that. Powerful show and tell. Powerful. I love it. Yeah. And I, when I bought these earrings, I was like, ooh, shock. I love jewelry that has a statement, but it also feels like it's about something deeper.
Mhm.
And that's why I just couldn't help it. I'm like looking at it, like, give me that neck.
Right, right.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, all right, sis, let me ask you some other standard questions that, or some I have to, sometimes I pull from cards, or sometimes I just ask questions that are coming up for me, and um, I want to ask you some soul chat questions, as we call it, because this is the soulful journey,
Yes.
and we remember some moments or things that might have made you who you are today.
Okay.
So I want to ask, when you were a kid, what did you want to be? Or is there a profession that you are not now that you dream of being? Or is there even like something that you used to do as a child that you don't do?
Well,
Go ahead.
my mother said that I was quite tenacious and I was quite the debater. And
Really?
so they thought that law would be my field of choice because I could debate anybody and
Ah,
defend, and even my father was 6'3", huge strong man, and I was the only one able to stand up to him, so I was quite the fighter, the
yes, they were like,
feisty
oh,
one.
that is fire. And
Yeah.
because you were fire, but you were shying away from the red, but
Yeah,
you were it
yeah, it was
growing
just
up,
too
right?
much. Yeah, yeah. um
I see.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's that's a whole nother topic about wanting to stay in the shadows with my fire, because there were so
Mhm.
many other things stuff that I felt and I allowed to stuff me into the corner,
I see.
to try to hide that fire, to try to
Did
I
your
wouldn't say doubt, but
But it sounds
control.
like your parents nurtured your debate skills.
Oh, they absolutely did.
See,
And
mine
that was,
was not. It was,
yeah.
look, this is my house. You best be quiet, right?
Yes.
But I love that.
No, they allowed us a
Was
seat
that
at the table. They allowed us a voice. They allowed us opinion. They allowed us the opportunity to think, to create, to choose our own course, and they supported it.
interesting.
And so we had encyclopedias in the hallway. Those that was way before the internet and Google. So
I understand. Look, I understand.
we would just sit there and read encyclopedias.
Yeah,
We were, friends with the librarians, and
we got
it
that.
was part of our life to learn, to dream, to think, and we never had any caps put on us
Yeah,
of
beautiful.
what we could do and think or say. We, of course, with me, maybe a little trying of the respect side, but they, even with my sass and my tenaciousness, as my mother liked to claim it, she said that she knew that I was going to need it for life.
Love that. Yeah.
And so she saw that. And my daughter is me times two. So, but I
Payback
get
is
it.
being a mother.
And I get it. But I get it. I hear it. I
I
see
love
it
it.
because they parented us that way.
Mm,
I can see that in my children now.
yeah.
So
But yeah, and how are you? How are you handling that with her tenaciousness? Are you mimicking the same practice that your mom did?
absolutely.
Okay.
There's boundaries. As parents, you still have to put boundaries. However, they are flexible. They are not hard. I like to use the term guardrails
Okay.
instead of hard and fast boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
but to guide her, or both of them, in a particular way that I see, and you grow with your children. As they grow, you in your parenting skills grow with them to match what
But
they need and
I'm
support.
I'm wondering too, because I'm still thinking about how you used to be fire.
Hmm.
I just don't, and I don't know if it was the trauma that caused you to lose your fire and want to cover your fire up. Do you think that's what it was?
Absolutely. There were cultural things that also attributed to that. There were so many things.
Cultural things in what way?
I am Native and I'm also Black. I grew up in a Black community, and being there, it was just me and my brother for the most part,
Hmm.
with our makeup that we knew about. And so finding that space, finding that middle ground, finding that opportunity. I just wasn't a light skinned Black girl,
Mm.
and oh, she thinks she's cute because this, that, or the other. And so there were things about me that I knew were just my genetic makeup and I had nothing to do with. But other people didn't recognize that. And so those were things that I had to fight against. And until like seventh grade, I was like one of the tallest in my class. And I kindergarten graduation picture, I'm in the back row. I was always
Oh,
trying
that's
to be
high.
in the shadow of
Yeah.
wherever I could.
So let me ask you, how did you get help? Because there's someone who might be listening and like, you know what? I've experienced some of those things, but I've never asked for a help from a coach because of I was in my culture, that's not normal. We just go to church, or I don't understand even how to. I mean, because I'm when you thought, so that's where I thought you were going to go when you
Oh,
thought cultural. Like, what do you say to someone who is? How do you ask for help, or
you
how
have
do
to,
you ask for help?
I went in deep. I went within and I decided, and there was another experience that I had on the other side that there was still that I don't know where I fit in. And I was always in the middle of thought processes, of representation, of being who I am. Is my butt too big on this side? Is my hair too curly? Is my hair too long and too straight on this side? And to be accepted, to be um uh, not throw, is my fire too big in particular arenas?
Mm, mm.
And
When you're
um
already feeling like a misfit.
mhm. And then the sexual abuse trauma on top of that, it was extremely damaging. And it wasn't until 2004, when we were about to do the Transitions Women's Empowerment Conference, that I told my mother about it. And she was like, "Why are you telling me now?" Not in a way that, "Why are you telling me now?" But what is the spark of telling me now? And I said, because as I began to go on to different platforms, I didn't want this to be the space where you heard it. And
So.
so,
Mm.
mhm,
So what I'm hearing is it sounds like I don't know if I'm hearing you correctly, but it sounds like your transition into asking to help for help was really in a way you finding yourself, but also trying to help others. Is that
mhm,
what I'm hearing?
yes,
You were helping somebody else in a conference and then thought, wait a minute, I may need help even telling my mother about
mhm,
this. Now I'm going to ask for help.
right,
Is that kind of how it happened?
mhm, yep. And
Okay.
there's studies, that psychology studies that show that just communicating, not just, but communicating your experience shows tremendous health impact.
Courage.
It's courage, but
It shows tremendous what?
health impacts.
Health impact. Okay.
And there was a large study, and it is in The Body Keeps Score. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and it talks about this psychology study that was done. And there was a group of students who didn't address their trauma experience either way, in any way. There was a group of students who wrote about it, and then there was a group of students who talked about it and added help to that. And that third group who talked about it and got help for it saw the doctors less. They had, less health, negative health outcomes. because they were able to release and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, when we add our voice and choice to our trauma, and that's big in trauma recovery, voice and choice, that gives us our fire back.
I do not know where I would be without poetry, because for me, that is where I poured all of my pain. And even still today is how I process it. And I have some very courageous pieces that I have put on albums that I don't even recite all the time because it
Right.
takes out of me. And even though I strive to be a poet who doesn't just sit with the pain, but also tries to come up with a solution or be a visionary of what could be.
Right.
It's still like going back to those moments, right, of trauma I've seen in other poets and I'm like, oh no, I feel it gets too much. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that, I mean, I'm definitely but I just know what art can do.
And
And I just,
there's parts of the brain that are activated. There's parts of the brain that are affected by trauma. And that arts and language and expression tend to be one of those parts that are actually protected. It's actually that higher executive function, that part of the thinking brain that is affected. And so we are leaning on and leaning towards the arts to help us get that out.
Yeah.
Help us to communicate our pain.
Yeah. And I everybody, I just wish everybody had the exposure to the arts, but when they took it out of the schools and it's not in every school, I just feel like, that's something we still have to. That's why, we seek to serve for that reason. And I'm glad that's why it's so important what you're doing. And I remember when we did that conference, there was a young lady who ran off the stage. And I remember you told me recently, she's not doing that running off the stage anymore.
Oh, she is.
We planted that seed at least, right?
Yeah, she is setting the stage. Matter of fact, she's having a production tonight. Megan, she got, I don't know her married name now, but she graduated with a degree in dance from Hollins University. And I was able to go to her final senior performance, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing to see her transformation and setting that stage for young people, setting that stage for anybody to express themselves. And that is a tribute to the work that we do.
Anybody who wants to live their life, live their best life, okay? And live life like it was golden, because I still remember us up there dancing to Jill Scott.
Yes.
Golden. Oh, that was an amazing conference that you put on, and I'll never forget it. And my sis rolled out the red carpet for me, and I was like, whoa, I still don't even know if I've ever gotten that kind of VIP treatment.
Wow.
It was just so unexpected. I got the limo and everything.
It was a lot of hard work. And you know what, though? We talked about it the other day about, seeing the quote by Justin Shaver that, his goal for 2021 was not to do anything alone, not to go into any projects alone. And I reflect on that conference because I did it alone. The planning, the processing, I had some help. I had some people on board, but it was more of a one-woman show of the orchestrating of it. But that was being able to ask for help. You just asked me, how did I finally ask for help, in my trauma, and how did I get help to get through the cultural piece? But it's being able to effectively ask for help, trusting that what we have is valuable, understanding that our asking for help doesn't mean that we're weak. It actually does some power lifting because it puts somebody else in a position to be lifted.
Yes,
we lift somebody else's power. We leverage our power.
Yes, and allowing, and it's not always easy, right? Mm-hmm. I have a poem called Collective Work and Responsibility, where I just say, sometimes we have to ask hard questions that we don't always want to ask. Right. We have to focus on who has certain strengths that we haven't even developed in, or we haven't had taken the time to sit down with somebody and find out what their strengths and weaknesses are, right, before we move forward. but that transformation that happens from the collective work is just, it builds trust. And and even though you feel like you did it alone, I still feel like I was called on, and I still feel like we were working together, and I still feel like, but there's always levels, right?
Right.
How we can do better. And I
Mhm.
love the fact that you're always seeking to do better, and that's why we twinning. So
Yeah.
I just want to ask you maybe one more soul chat
Okay.
question. This one is about your. Okay, I want to ask you two more soul chat questions.
Okay. Okay.
Morning routine, because you seem so disciplined. I know you're a mother as well. How do you, I know we all only get 24 hours. Please, can you share your morning routine with me?
Okay.
Is it,
This is what I strive for most days. If we get everybody to sleep by 10, I can do it. But by 5:30, most days, 5:30 I'm up, between 5 and 5:30, and I'm up. And I come and give myself an hour because I have to get my kids up at 6:30. And so I come upstairs and I just give myself time in 15-minute increments to read, to move, to write, to grasp my day before I start.
yes. All the greats do that.
Yes.
That is the goal.
And it helps. And once I started implementing that, the end of my day I could rest.
Mm,
My mind was not continuing to spin in orbits,
okay.
trying to catch up and trying to find time for myself,
Yeah.
trying to find time to think, trying to find time to move. And so in 15-minute increments for that morning, 5:30 to 6, has been so life-changing for me because again, I can grasp my thoughts, I can connect with my body, I
Okay.
can connect with my spirit, you know, all in that time when there's quiet, that quiet time. So
Hmm.
that by the end of the day, again, I'm not looking for it. I'm not depleted or deprived of it.
Okay. All
But in
right.
that morning time, I can refuel
Is
every
there
day.
a book that you're reading right now that
I
um
am. I
helps
am
you
reading.
process?
Yes. Start Finishing by Charles Gilkey. Start Finishing.
Oh, you are just so ready. You got books by your like,
Yes. How to go from
that's my girl.
idea to done. Yeah, because this is where I sit in my space, and
You're
it's right
studying.
here. This
Start
is
pitching. Okay.
Yeah. And so what I did learn with trauma recovery is that procrastination is one of the consequences, side effects, symptoms of trauma. And so that, and wanting everything to be perfect. So perfectionism as well. And so that worthiness, that ability to think through things, again, that higher executive function, that thinking, sometimes gets bogged down, and that brain fog that happens. And so it's like so many projects that I've done that maybe got to a certain point, and
Mhm.
then I rolled back from it because I didn't think I was worthy enough, and or
Do we ever get cured from that?
we
Because
can.
you are not alone.
it,
Okay.
it takes time, it takes grace with ourselves, it takes the ability to say I'm worth it. It
Mm,
takes There's these lies that we hear,
yeah.
you
Inner.
know in our inner critic. It could be voices that we heard over the years, real, exchanges
Real.
that we hear and continue to resonate in our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time. It takes patience. It's a,
Yeah.
it's a process. It is a process. And there is a parish model from the Bobby Parish of the International Association of Trauma Recovery Coaches. And there's the anchor trauma, and there's a cycle that happens. But at the top of the recovery process is advocacy.
Is what?
Advocacy,
Ah.
when we begin to stand in the gaps for others and help others through their healing process.
You
And
are
so,
you are doing that. You are standing in the gap. I am doing my best to be that bridge and as well for others because I know what they feel. I know how that feels.
right.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this show,
Right.
because especially right now,
Mhm.
during this pandemic, I feel like I am strong. Okay, and
Right.
if I struggle, I'm like I definitely got to be there
Right.
for people, because this is life or death. This is
It
death.
it
And
truly
everybody's
is.
not gonna make it. But anybody who's connected to me, I'm hoping, and anybody
Right.
connected to you, if they listen long enough, we're gonna give them tools. That's all we can do.
And to know we're worth it. We're all worth it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I also am a mental health first aid instructor. And one of the things that we teach is just be the difference.
Be
Part of
the
a protective factor is having one person in our life that we can count on. That one person can make the difference for somebody's survival, literally.
and that person that I wanted to give a shout out to your mom. She did so well. She did so well with you. I mean, gosh, look at you. I mean, you and I just know remember how meeting her and how strong she is, and I give thanks for uh, the gift,
Oh,
the gift. And your dad too. Oh my gosh, rest in peace. I just it's been such a pleasure talking to you today. And is there and what would you like to be remembered by? This is a soul chat question. I'm always a little nervous of it because it seems a little morbid, but I like to ask this one because I do think it's a very important question. And what would you like on your tombstone?
either my or her, but my soul danced.
Mm. You ready?
When you asked me, yeah, my soul danced.
My soul danced. That's just simple and it's real. Or my soul danced, or my soul dances.
I was like, yeah, dances. Because I'll still be dancing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, this has been an amazing chat, and I just want to know. I know you had another poem that I really like, but I don't know how long it is.
It's fairly short.
Because I would love for you to do two pieces if you can to close this out, but I don't know how long transitions is because that's my request.
Yeah.
Is that like 3 minutes, 4 minutes? Do you know?
It's probably two.
So yes, can I hear
Yes.
both
Yes.
transitions? And
Yes.
then I know there's a beautiful poem I would love for you to end with. So we're gonna sometimes I play the drum a little bit or something, but I might just hum or something. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, but give me something I can
Okay.
give me a little space room to play with you. So go ahead.
Okay.
We're gonna do a
Okay.
little rap. So you
All
whenever
right.
you're ready.
All right. Transitions. Yesterday, I worried.
Mm.
Yesterday, I cried. Yesterday, I laughed. Yesterday, I sighed. Standing still in the motion, paralyzed. Standing still in the motion. Today, I move forward. Today, I move on. Today, I move beyond, flowing freely, freely, freely in the movement.
Free
Forward to
in the movement, yesterday and today. Freely in the movement, I feel fun, I feel play. Hey,
right on.
keep going, sis.
Forward to tomorrow, on to greater things, beyond what I can see, preparing a better place for you and me. Yesterday, I was in motion.
Mm.
Today, I am in movement. Tomorrow, I transition.
Yes, transition. Hey, now give me that last piece. What you want to share?
Yeah.
You have any final words for us?
That one piece is about feeling your emotion, feeling yourself, allowing yourself the grace to go through, and then releasing it. And so I want you to keep that beat. Can you
Oh,
pick up
keep
that
going.
beat? Yeah, keep it going. Yes, yes, yes. This one is speak unto me. Speak unto me before the words grow old in your soul. Speak. Speak unto me. Let the rhythms and the rhymes flow. Speak. Speak unto me the lyrical visions hidden below. Speak. Speak unto me before the words grow old in your soul. Speak.
Speak life. Abound dot life.
Life.
Okay.
Yes.
All day, every day, sis. I gotta shake maracas. I just gotta give
Thank
hugs
you.
and cyber kisses because you are doing the work, the good work. Hey, we do
Yes.
it together. And I am so grateful for you. This has been an amazing episode. You can find Onawa at abound.life. And please, if you are someone who is who needs has questions for her, how can they reach you? Is that the best place?
Yeah. Info at abound.life is my email address. Abound.life is my website. And so I do consulting for corporations and agencies and organizations and coaching as well, and advocacy for mental health awareness. So you can find all my services at abound.life.
Well, I am so happy. I am so happy that you joined us today. It
Thank
has been a
you.
pleasure. And don't let this be the last time because this has only been our 13th episode and it will get greater later, as my daddy always
Yes.
say. And I'm so grateful for you for showing up now and just always being there. So my best to your family and to you, and keep being the beautiful flame that you are in
Yes.
the world.
Thank
And
you, Venus.
I'm gonna say goodbye for now. So right now, I want to thank you, especially those of you who are watching for the first time and don't know who I am. My name is Venus Jones, and I am a author, educator, and a poet. And this whole Soulful Journey series is really just about just making sure that you continue to spread as much love and light as we are trying to spread in this world because it is so sorely needed. So I strive to always mend to those who are divine and who are out here, my friend. So let's do this. Let's keep doing this together. Just remember to, if you like the show, to subscribe. Remember to share and to click like. Sign up for the updates at venusjones.com. And next week, our guest next week, her name is Oneness, and she is an energy healer. So you don't want to miss out on our next guest. She's also a poet. And I just want to say what I always like to end with, which is keep looking up and keep looking out. And when you do, you'll have a lot less fear and a lot less doubt. Thank you so much for watching. You are loved.